Hey everyone, I'm Follygon, and in this video I have a speed sculpt for you of Umaru-chan? Umaru. This model can be downloaded for free from my Gumroad. There's a link for that up in the top right hand of the screen. You can click on that and go check out all the stuff on Gumroad. It's all free, you can download it, use it for whatever you want. And with that, let's start talking about this speed sculpt. I had a lot of fun playing around with it. It was kind of like doing a quick little sketch, but I got a lot of other projects that I'm working on all at the same time, so it's a little hard to keep up, so I wanted to do something maybe a little bit easier this time around. All the same though, I had a lot of fun working on it, like I said, and I had my own challenges along the way, and I still learned a few things as well. So I'm just blocking out the shapes right now, making a little Umaru Burrito. And you hear me say that a lot, like blocking out the shapes. And that's kind of like a catch-all term that I use. Essentially what I mean when I say blocking out the shapes is I'm talking about the primary forms of the object. So getting the shape of the head or the face correct here, getting the shape of the little burrito hood thing that she's in, like getting all that correct. And I'm not worrying about, at least at first, I'm not like worrying about like the ears are exactly where the eyes are placed or the exact shape of the mouth. I'm just making sure that I get all the parts and pieces in there. And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with in the beginning, but it's the most important part of sculpting or 3D modeling, or just I think art in general. So getting those blocked out shapes, those primary forms are so very important. They're what's going to drive the entire the entire rest of your sculpt. So think of it this way. For primary forms, think of it as a step-by-step process. You have your primary forms, your secondary forms, and your tertiary forms, or your details like pores or skin texture, or anything like that. Think of it as kind of like a step-by-step process, like if you're baking a cake. If you do step 1 incorrectly for the cake, step 2 and 3 don't even matter. I mean, sure, you can do them on top, and heck, that icing was delicious that you made for that cake, but the cake was just awful. The cake was terrible as a whole, because you neglected step 1 and 2, or did a poor job on step 1. So from that point on, it's already failed, which is kind of why I recommend doing this whole quantity over quality thing, because it helps you do stuff really quick and practice that step 1 over and over and over and over. People get really obsessed with doing this whole like high detail, very large resolution kind of sculpt where they're like getting tens of millions of polys in there, and it's just really not necessary for a lot of stuff. So again, stick to those, like I say, primary forms, stick to that blocking out phase as long as you can. If the object doesn't look good at its lowest subdivision level, or its lowest level of resolution, essentially, if you can't like dynamesh it really low and have it, or decimate it really low and have it look really good, I think that's kind of a good indicator that you have a problem with your sculpt. And I think everyone who's kind of done this for a little bit would agree with me about how important those initial steps are and how important it is to practice that. So hey, that's all I got for you guys this time. I didn't really do anything new in this sculpt that you haven't seen before. I did use my spotlight image as a color sampler, and I seem to remember that you used to be able to sample colors from it, but I couldn't remember exactly how I did that in the past. So essentially I ended up just like using it as a texture stamp to paint on my mesh and then color sampled those parts, which I thought was just like a really interesting kind of like a little bit of a hack to get that to work. Like I said, I don't remember how I've done that in the past. I could have probably found it out really quick just by Googling it, but again, it's always fun to come up with those little solutions that are maybe not as fast or a little bit different, but they still kind of get the job done. Like I said at the beginning of the video, new videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Click that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. I hope you learned something new, got a little inspired, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. How long has this been recording?